What's up, YouTube? Today we are back on the Honda Accord. Now, if you're going to take any advice from me and it's going to stick, do me a favor. If you're going to do it right. Something my papa told me, and I stand by it on all the projects. Ooh, almost lost you guys there. On all my projects, is if you're going to do it right. It's very important. Not only do you make the engine bay look good, you know, I painted the heat shield. And some people might be like, oh, whoa, why are you going to paint the heat shield? That right there is that's good for 3,200 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a ceramic paint that they use in the inside of, what do you call them? Wood stoves, and I put them on headers in the past, and it doesn't get burned off. It's very hard to get the stuff. It's not something you can just find. You do have to actually look for it. And, of course, the whole reason why you guys are here is we're going to diagnose an issue with this vehicle. And the issue is it actually sits at idle at 2,000 RPMs, which is way wrong. Not only does it sit at 2,000 RPMs, it actually will surge to about $3,500 or $3,500 RPMs, which, of course, you know, it's like highway speed at, like, you know, cruising. It's not right. So we need to fix that. And it should be something fairly simple and mundane. But, you know, it's just getting this car to the point where it is right now. It's been quite the struggle, especially cleaning the interior, which I figured would have been the easiest part. We'll have to throw the before and afters. So the whole point of this channel, the reason why I started it, with inspiration of other YouTubers like Sam Crack and Auto Auction Rebuilds, B is for Build, they really inspired me to, you know, dig deep and get ahead and do it, or go ahead and do it. And it's actually, I'm having a lot of fun. So back to this. Now, if you're going to be sending it down the road, make sure you get good parts. And something that really bothered me, actually, from Rock Auto, is it showed the coil packs to look like this, and when I ordered it, it came looking like this. So in the spirit of getting you guys involved and asking your opinion on things, I don't want to send it down the road like that personally. I'm inclined to order 2 more of these, even though it's more expensive and I don't need to do it, to replace these 2, so it looks good. We put all this energy, a lot of energy, into getting this vehicle to look right. What are your guys' opinions? Should I spend the extra money to get these, to replace these 2, even though they are perfectly fine? Because to me, it just doesn't look right. Anyways, we'll get back to the issue on hand. Now, the whole point of these vehicles, well, this vehicle, is to help fund not so much my daily drivers. They're running fairly well. I would like to restore this. This was my dad's Jeep, and I really want to get this thing to tip-top shape. We have a hot rod truck over there, and of course we have my wife's Mini Cooper. That this project will help fund finishing this project, and it will help get the super project going. So for me, if you want to help the channel out, remember to like, subscribe, and share the episodes. That helps out immensely. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and have to do to diagnose the issue is take this shroud off. We won't have to take this one off. And once we get that off, it shows or it exposes a lot of the potential issues. We'll set this down somewhere safe. Just in case you didn't hear me. Make sure you put, you know, things that you don't want to replace, especially this V6. It's very hard to find parts for it, unless you order them, and that's really expensive. And once again, the whole point is to do these project cars right, but on a budget. Now, there's a bunch of potential issues right here. However, what we're going to do first is go pretty far away from the engine into the car. And I'm going to pause you guys for a second, and I'll be right back, and I'll show you what the very first thing you should do to determine why your vehicle is doing the high idle or just going above and, you know, surging. So very first thing we're going to do. All right, so now that we're inside the vehicle, the most important thing is to get a OBD2 reader. They're inexpensive. It's about $100, totally worth it. Can you get more expensive ones? Absolutely. But if you're like me and you're looking to do something on a budget, I found Blue Driver off of an episode of, I believe it was Sam Crack that actually was putting it out there. So this I bought with my own money, and I keep it in my vehicle, whatever I'm driving during the day, whether it's the Jeep or the BMW. And it's great because you can actually log the data. The newer the car, the more data you can get from it. But once you put it in the OBD2 reader, it'll turn blue and you'll pair it with your phone. And once it's actually, you might have to go into your Bluetooth menu and repair it and stuff like that. You can hear the chickens. So once it's in the phone, you can open up the app. It'll connect to your car. And this is the very first thing you should do to diagnose really any problem in your vehicle before you start tearing apart things. You might find a little bit more information that you didn't already know. So we go ahead and start the car up, and we're sitting at 2,000 RPMs, and as it sits and it'll start to warm up, it'll start to surge, and we'll go from 2,000 to 3,000 and back and forth. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to scan for codes. The scan was successful, and we have no pending codes, and we have no trouble codes. Now, does that mean we're totally out of the clear? No. What we're going to do is we're going to let this run for about maybe 5 minutes before we actually start diagnosing other issues. I already know what it is. Well, I shouldn't say that. I assume I know what it is, but it's good to make sure before we start tearing things apart. All right, now the vehicle's been running for a little while, and you can see where it's surging. So we'll go ahead and rescan. And it's coming up with no trouble codes. So what we have to do is actually start troubleshooting the overall issues. Actually, we're going to want this turned on still. So we'll go ahead and turn that back on. And we're going to keep an eye on the temperature gauge. But we're going to go ahead and we're troubleshoot. Oh, and I still haven't gotten a replacement battery yet. So that's another thing you really want to keep on hand. One of these battery packs, they're wonderful to have. Now, keep an eye out on sales. I ended up picking this up at Napa for about $150 off. So, you know, when you buy one that I think it was like $250, you get it for $100. Keep an eye out for it. Because I've started a V10 off that thing. It's, you know, keep an eye out for deals. One of the biggest things you can do to help your projects at home is keep an eye out for deals. So the first thing we're going to do, and when I told you before, when you paint that, when you paint anything with that paint that's going to get hot, it's going to smoke like a bastard. But the very first thing you're going to want to do is look into what could be causing it. So, not that I've seen one of these go wrong, but go ahead and take them off, and just the sensors on the intake to see what it does. Go ahead and take this one off. She's still idling really high, and she's about to actually die. All right, so we're going to go ahead and restart this, and I'm going to hit it with a little bit of starter fluid where known vacuum lines are, where I did take them out, and see if it causes a surge in the idle right away. And if it does, we'll immediately get right on it. But I'm fairly confident that it just needs to get the air out of the coolant line. So without further ado, I love that term. I actually hate that I say that, but we'll get right into this. All right, with that not being the issue, we're gonna go ahead, and because the engine is still cool, it didn't let it warm up, we're gonna go ahead and pop this off and check the coolant levels. And it is a little low, so we'll go ahead and put a little bit of coolant in here. I'll be right back while I go get some. So we're gonna use some of the antifreeze that was in the trunk in the effort to, once again, save some money. I did look inside it. It does look fine. It's not the most amazing coolant, but I'll top it off. And I did lose, not a lot, but I did lose some. You can actually see the air bubbles in the system. They're fine, so it's not too terrible. And it is starting to warm up. So I like to massage the upper line and the lower line, just to see if there's any air bubbles, and there was air bubbles in it. And it did take not a lot, but a fair amount. Go ahead. Whoop. Try not losing all your parts as you're working. So it does look like the forward heat shield has actually burned off its, basically cured. We still have the back one working on it, but we'll rev the engine. Massage the system a little bit. And remember, don't do this when it's really, really hot. It will really put a damper on your day. We still have some bubbles in there, but not. I'll rev it a couple more times. Don't rev it hard while it's up, it'll go everywhere. Yeah, it looks like we're all right, and it already has started to reduce the issues. Now, other issues that could cause, let's see. Actually, let's go ahead and right inside the car, and I got shit all over my hands. That's a far more acceptable idle, which is still not right. So we'll work on the idle speed. I prefer about 650. So we'll figure out if it's just the air in there or anything else that could be causing it. But it's way better than it idling, you know, at 3,000. I'm pushing my foot on it. So we'll mess with anything else that I could have caused it to idle, and that's really one of the easiest things you can to look into on this vehicle is that problem. So if you guys are coming here for that sole purpose, the biggest issue, of course, is really that sensor right there. Not sensor, it's the coolant goes through, and that just prevents the sensor from freezing. And what that does is, as the temperature increases or decreases, it just tells the throttle or the intake manifold what the overall conditions of the vehicle are. So that could be bad, it could be fouled. So a replacement of that could cause it, or could solve the issue, I should say. And there are older ones with mechanical ones. This one doesn't have the mechanical one. This one just has, as far as, so it's pretty simple to investigate yourself. Remember, sometimes you can get away with not going to a mechanic. If you're not mechanically inclined, you know, it's an easy fix, it's an easy repair. Don't reuse gaskets, for the love of all that is holy. Don't do it. So we're idling a lot better now. I know that was a lot to take in. So just, if you can, pick up a good manual online. Try to avoid the Haynes manuals. I know a lot of people like them. I can't stand them. So, and matter of fact, I'll rant about that later on. So yeah, That's far better. I'm much happier with that. Much happier with that. All right, guys, on that, remember, like, subscribe. Hopefully I had solved your quandary about what's going on, and I'll see you in the next episode.